Incoming transmission.
Welcome, watchers of Illusion, to my Castle of Confusion. It is the 23rd of September. I've got a bit of a classic specky for you. Check this out. Yes, it's Kwik Snax Dizzy on the ZX Spectrum. I'm going to be quiet now because this tune is kick-ass. Have a listen to this. Notice how in time everything is as well. You've got Grandpa Dizzy down there clapping his boxing gloves together with great gusto. Absolutely fantastic. You've got the keyboard player at the back and the guitar is just absolutely brilliant. Everything's on time. Just I'll be quiet again now because it's going to hit another riff. Here we go! Okay, let's kick off then. So, basically the Dizzy mob returning from their grueling tour of Yokeland, planning on going on a well-deserved holiday, but where? So here we go. Get to choose the levels that we want to play as well, which is nice. Now this is an interim game, again, a bit like Fast Food was between Dizzy and Treasure Island Dizzy. This one bridges the gap between Fantasy World Dizzy and Magicland Dizzy, which was released in 1990, this game, and very well received on the very machine we are playing on now, the ZX Spectrum. Not so much on the C64. They changed the gameplay a bit and stuff, but it's kind of it's an interesting one. It's good fun. It is good fun. Many see this as the sequel to Fast Food Dizzy. I don't know. I don't see it as a sequel as that as such. I just see it as another interim game that they did to bridge the gap between his adventure games, and I've always thought that with Fast Food as well. Now the idea of the game is basically to go around the map and collect all the fruits that you can see without getting killed by the mobs that are on the screen. Now you can see in the last one we just did, there were penguins on the screen. You can crush them to death with the blocks, and then once you've cleared a level you get that stage, which I've just completed rather niftily. I will explain the differences between this and a bonus stage in just a moment, but basically here we go. You've got all the blocks here are pushable unless there's something in the way. So that block there with the blue, darker blue appearance cannot be pushed, but the lighter blue ones, as long as there's nothing in the way, can be easily shoved along, and there's no limit to how many you can do either. You can just keep shoving them along. You get power-ups along the way, some good, some not so good. You get a potion which will do you harm, or I don't know if it kills you or not, but I haven't been stupid enough to run into that one on the review. Now, okay, so we're going to the bonus stage. Now, the difference here is you'll see when I start there's some arrows on Dizzy, and it's the only way he can move. Now, once he's set in motion, you can't stop him. So if I pushed up at that point there, I just keep going up and up and up the screen, and that would be it, game over. You've got to negotiate your way around the bonus screen to get all the things without running in, without going in a continuous line. It's harder than it sounds, and some of them are very tricky. We'll see that later. Now, the thing I've just got there doesn't allow you to go through the sides of the screen, so that's more of a sort of hindrance than a help. Like I said, not everything you get in the game is friendly towards you, so you've got to pick your bonus items carefully. Now, picking a fruit that's glowing will give you 50 points more than one that isn't. I'll try and collect them in order and see if there's any benefit to doing it. I don't think there is. I don't think you get any sort of like a bomb jack moment, for example, where you collect all the glowing bombs. I don't think this gives you the same sort of satisfaction as that. I don't think there's a big end of game bonus for it. I think it just gives you extra points as you collect them. So we'll try and do it anyway and see. I don't know what these are supposed to be, like devil rabbits or something, I guess. But yeah, you can push the scenery around, so you can actually squish them. They do come back, a bit like the ghosts in Pac-Man. So you've always got to be on the toes. There's no way you can sort of get around a level and not clear them all and keep them away. They always respawn. So you've got that to look out for. It's an added little thing, I suppose. Keeps you on your toes. And this game is a challenge, and I love the fact that they've put these little bonus screens in to make you think about how you want to react with the scenery to be able to get Dizzy around the course without running out of time. As you can see, there's the timer in the top with the little green lines, and if you get to clear them all, you get that nice 1,000-point bonus, which is great. The point of the game is basically to rescue the Yolk Folk. I mean, which Dizzy game doesn't have you rescuing the Yolk Folk? Let's be honest. But yeah, you basically reach the end of the levels. There isn't sort of a big, boss or anything to fight at the end. You just go through the stages, and you'll come to the last stage eventually, which you're not really aware of anyway. It'll just suddenly sort of cut and say, oh, which level do you want to do next? But it does show you which one of the Yolk Folk you have rescued, and there's the poison bottle I was talking about, which I'm not going to collect. You can see it's a fairly standard affair of running around and picking things up, and it's a lovely game to play, quite honestly, and the music in this game is fantastic. I love it, absolutely love it. A lot of thought's gone into it, because the thing is with the music is that each level has a different, or each stage has a different arrangement, which is great. This bonus stage is always the same, but as it's only, you only get these bonus stages at the end of every level, it doesn't really need to have a different track at the end of it. But I like the fact that each stage has a different soundtrack. I think that's really good. And in fact, I'll try and get onto the next level so that you can actually hear the soundtrack. In fact, if I just be quiet for a second, and I'm going to just let you listen to the soundtrack a minute for this level, and you can see the work that's gone into the soundtrack itself is absolutely amazing. I love the 128K music, especially in Codemasters games. But here, have a listen to this. It's great, isn't it? And at the end of the day, it doesn't get in the way. You're playing along. Some soundtracks you have in games are absolutely awful, and you just don't want to have them on when you're playing because they become distracting. I don't think this happens in this game, at least it doesn't for me. It might do for other people who don't like that kind of soundtrack, more music or bass, whatever, but the composer has made an absolutely fantastic effort of making something that's very jolly, fun, and fits the theme of the game well, and I think that's really good. Now, these levels here, I'm either going to run out of time or I'm not going to get this done. It's a tricky one. You've got to use your brain for these, and that's what I like as well. It's not just your standard, if I do this, I'm going to run out of time here, guys. Here we go, and timer is done. Yeah, so that one I couldn't do. But you see, it's not as easy as it looks, and that's kind of nice because, there you go, there's the end of it. I've saved Denzel. Denzel says, "Yo, Dizzy, lay some skin on me, boy." Yeah, okay, so Denzel trying to be cool. So now we've completed Ice Cream Land. Now we're into this one. Now I'm going to be quiet again so you can listen to the difference of the soundtrack. Superb, isn't it? Different soundtrack for every level. I like that. I think that's really good. And I mean, you're considering that these games were crammed into 128K. It's a marvel really of what they did with the machine. You can see that the level design is different as well. We've got those suns which cannot be pushed through, so you've got that as an added extra. You've got to be careful what you're doing with that as well. And these little bonus stages start to get a little bit more taxing as well. But it's great because if you don't have a game that keeps you on your toes and keeps you thinking about how you're going to complete a level, what's the point? See, Dizzy, the original Dizzy adventure game, which I really must review at some point because I've done these in a bit of an odd order, but the original Dizzy game was a puzzle game, and if you didn't have the right items at the right places, it became very tricky to get any progress done. Treasure Island Dizzy was exactly the same sort of thing, but you only had one life. Treasure Island Dizzy still today one of the hardest Dizzy games ever, and I only completed it twice on the Spectrum, and that was through hard work, determination, and just a refusal to let the game beat me. Fantasy World Dizzy again, but slightly easier this time. Going on from there, Spellbound Dizzy, Prince of the Yolk Folk, Fantastic Dizzy, Crystal Kingdom and Wonderland Dizzy. All of these games follow the same sort of design, but these games, along with you got Dizzy Panic and Bubble Dizzy, Dizzy Down the Rapids and Go Dizzy Go, these are all sort of puzzle element games, very different from each other and the main narrative of the series. but again, it kind of breaks up the series nicely, because when you're waiting for a new Dizzy game to come out, I mean, this was one of those things. You've got Treasure Island Dizzy. Once you'd finished that, you were aching for the next Dizzy game. You didn't know if there was one coming or not. And then suddenly you'd see Fantasy World Dizzy on the shelves, or you'd see Fast Food on the shelves, and you're like, because it's a Dizzy game, you're going to get it. Same with Kwik Snax. As soon as you see Dizzy on the cover, you buy it. And the thing with Codemasters, they could have fallen flat on their faces with these two games, Fast Food and Kwik Snax. They could have fallen flat on their face with those, but they didn't. They did an absolutely fantastic job with them, and they are just such fun to play. If you haven't played a Dizzy game before, I suggest you start with Dizzy the Ultimate Cartoon Adventure. That's available on the Spectrum, the Amstrad, and I'm not sure, C64 I think. A majority of the other Dizzy games are available across a lot more platforms. So you had like the Amiga, Atari ST, and I think that was it for those. But they're also on the Nintendo, the NES as well. So if you can get any of them, have a go. They are cracking good fun, and if you like a good adventure game, the Dizzy games will have you sorted. So that's been Kwik Snax Dizzy, my friends. This has been the Retro Revival Show. I've been Rich, and I will catch you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share and subscribe. There's more content coming next week. Cheerio, folks!